Hello, lovelies. It's your girl James here.
Hello.
Welcome to the episode of Inside Nollywood Conversations brought to
Thank
you
you
from.
so much.
Yeah, so it's a new year.
Thank you so much for
Happy
having me.
birthday. So, guys, it's Inside Nollywood National Film Festival. It's in Abuja and it's been the February 15th to 17th. So, I just you guys should know is the next big thing, amazing, fantastic film festival you would ever experience, brought to you from us, right? Today, I have an amazing guest, and that is Jack'enneth Opukeme. I hope you are well. And he is a screenwriter, and also, I met Jack. Uh, he wrote during the year, and honestly, it's amazing. And that is it. It's a fantastic. I can't tell you about it. Oh, on that note, hi, welcome. Hello.
Hello.
Okay, can you hear me
I'm
now?
struggling to hear, honestly. It's breaking. Hello?
Breaking. Okay, I can hear you. Hear me.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
Okay, better. Okay, so I just um, I'm sure you didn't hear me speaking. My name is Jack. He was the one who wrote at the Red, that premiered last year. And I met him during the movie premiere and I said, I really want to interview this person because he was one of the cast as well, like one of the actors. And I can't forget your role in that movie. But long story short, we're into him today about the role of inclusion in scriptwriting. But before we do that, like my custom is, I always want to get to know my guests and their journey. So tell us, Jack, how did you start? At what point did you say to yourself that I want to be a screenwriter? What inspired you? Tell us your story.
I studied theater in school. I studied drama and theater. So I think in my final year, I would stage plays, but mostly foreign plays, Raising in the Sun, August Wilson's Fences. And then at some point, I was like, you know what, let me start writing my own. Let me, instead of just staging foreign plays or other people's plays, let me start writing mine. So instead from there, I would write my own productions like Abba Blues, The Faces and the Fires. I would also write and direct them, to save cost and whatnot. So after that, doing that for some time, I got a call to come to Lagos to intern with a film company, Film One to be precise. And I think just from interning and pitching stories to the company, I got opportunities like Battle on Booker Street and then Nigeria. So that's basically the journey in a nutshell.
Sure. So let me tell you this before we go on, Jack. When I'm talking, kindly mute your mic. And then when you're talking, I'll mute my mic. It
Okay.
helps our communication. So just be
Okay.
conscious of that. Yes. So you talked about how you had to come to Lagos to do your intern, and then here you are today. You co-wrote Battle on Booker Street, and
Yeah.
you did
I picked the
you.
original story and co-wrote
Okay,
it.
that is fantastic. And then Adire, there's something about your movies. Okay, long story short, tell us when you wanted to go into writing, when you decided, okay, I want to be a screenwriter professionally. Did you get your parental support?
Sorry, can I get the question again?
When you decided to go into screenwriting, did you get parental support? Were your parents in support of your decision?
My mom couldn't, she just wanted me to be an actor. My mom was more interested in me being in front of the screen. My dad was quite chill, but my mom wanted me to be in front of the screen. So um, I think finally she gets to see me in Nigeria, so that was fun.
Okay, so what inspires you when you want to write? Like I would always ask, my custom is, when some people want to do something, they sometimes take Hennessy, you know what I'm talking about, and all that. So where do you get your inspiration from? And some people it's from the Holy Spirit. They tell you, I was praying and this thing dropped to my spirit, or I was just buying something on the roadside and I saw kids playing, and from there I was inspired and I wrote the script. So tell us how you get inspired. What inspires you, when you want to write? How do you get in the mood of writing?
I think that's such an interesting question because it comes up a lot. I think for me, besides the fact that I'm a very dramatic person naturally, like in my everyday life, I'm very dramatic. I think I listen. Um, I try to listen to what is not being spoken about. So, you could go out on your daily activities and it just feels like life is happening to everybody and it seems normal and it's okay. But for me, I'm looking, I'm searching, I am attentive to everyday life. Because to be honest, sometimes the story that is going to give you your breakthrough or going to transfer is just in observing the woman by the road or observing your own self. And I think it's not just even for when it comes to like me being observant, it's not just people out there. I try to observe my own self. I'm a complicated being. My life is complicated. My life is dramatic enough. So I try to look inwards and observe all of these things, look outwards to and observe all of these things, and somehow the stories come to me. Is what I've noticed because they are actually there. You just need to train your mind to observe them and to get them out because they're actually there every single day. Everybody walking around you or everything happening with life around you. These are stories, but you just need to, have insights to like see that okay, this is not just a regular thing happening. There is real meat in this thing. There is gist in this thing. This thing is interesting enough. People can learn from this thing. So I think that's what happens with me. That's what basically inspires me.
Okay, so what was the first movie that you wrote? Tell us a little bit about your experience from the first movie that you wrote.
Okay, for I wrote a short film for Johnny Drill. It's called Liza. It was to promote his single. He had an album before I wake, if I'm very correct. So that was my first like proper experience in the industry, just writing that short film, and I really enjoyed every bit of it. He loved the work. People also loved it. So I think after writing Liza, I just had like ginger to want to do more, to want to make feature films and write other things beyond just short films.
Fantastic. What would you say, is the most challenging part of being a writer, a screenwriter? What would you say is the most challenging thing for you?
Sometimes it feels like you're writing with 500 people. It feels like because you're working with EPs and producers and even actors. I feel like I've gotten around that, and with each passing project or with each new work, I'm just learning. I'm definitely better at handling people. But initially, the major challenge was it's so many opinions. So you have to listen because these opinions, most times, they come from a good place. People want the projects to succeed. People want their films to be done right. So I think what I've learned is knowing that writing is all about negotiating ideas. It's not just about you. When people hire you for a job, even if it is your job and you have to do it with other people, you get to work with a lot of people's opinions. So I think that's a bit of a challenge. But for me, what I do is I'm grounded enough in what I'm about to write. I care about it enough. I try to care about it enough. I try to love it enough. Because if I operate from the place of love with a project, I'm not going to be closed-minded to somebody else's opinion. I won't, push all those opinions aside. I would consider it. I would listen because I know what I'm about to write. So I think that's the major challenge. But I think I've somehow over the years figured it out.
As a screenwriter, when you're writing, do you already see pictures of people who are going to take certain roles or characters? Does it happen to you? Like when you write stories, are you also seeing the actors that match, that fits the story you're already writing? Like, okay, this person is going to play this character. I feel like this is the person that fits this character. In your mind, does that happen?
Oh, yes, definitely. Because sometimes you need to step out of your own head. The thing with writing is that you are thinking for so many people, and half the time you're saying what they're saying in your voice, because they all come from you, they're all creations of you. So I think what helps me sometimes is if I have the image, if I have an image in my head of who I think should play this roles. It helps me because obviously, if I have that image in my head, I have observed that person's work, I've observed the person's mannerisms, I know the sound of the person's voice. So it allows me to, see that character through the lens of my muse. Because if it is just me, if I don't visually see it, it may not come out, it may not translate well. So yeah, I think as for me in particular, we always have, people. Sometimes you can't even cast those people. You will not see them anywhere, but you still just use their likeness in your head to make sure um, the story is true or the story looks more believable.
Okay, so let's go into Adire. Tell us about Adire. What inspired you with the Adire story? Because that is not a story that someone would just wake up and think about. It's a deep story. It's a story that teaches acceptance, that teaches empathy, compassion. It comes from a deep place. So tell us what inspired you in writing that movie, Adire.
I always tell people that I was having a nap one day and then I saw this woman called Ajire walk into a town and then she told me her name was Ajire and I should tell her story. But I think now, upon further investigation and upon my friends that have seen it and family members who've seen it, they're like, this reminds me of that and this reminds me of that. And subconsciously I have been, I was basically telling um, this story from things that had happened to me or from people that I knew personally. For instance, I grew up in the church. I always went to church as a child, and you just see everything. You see the good, the bad, the ugly. You see the kind pastor. You see the overzealous Christian. You see the judgmental people, and you know, it, it just didn't make any sense to me at the time how people were so different in church, but that's life basically in reality. So I think the Christian or the religious aspects of the film came from just me observing people I met in church, I'd seen in church, kind people. I did not want to write a story where everybody in church was bad because I don't think that is realistic. There are some genuine people with empathy. There are some people who are just exposed to true change. And I wanted to capture all of these nuances in the film. People, diverse people in church. Then about women bonding in the film, I used to work in a salon before I got admitted into school. So because I was quite young at the time, they didn't care. They would say anything they wanted to say. They would talk about life, they would talk about the boyfriends they didn't marry. They would just say anything. And then when someone, gives them the chance to say something, they knows everything already. So I think just observing women from that particular salon, I just saw how beautiful it was, how they would come together, and just talk about their lives, and it just made some sense, and it felt like they could fully be themselves when they were together in the salon as compared to any other place. It's not like I knew them personally, but it did feel that way. So while the idea came to me, I realized that while I was writing, I was taking inspiration from, real life people and real life women who I thought were just rock stars. How they handled their homes, how they wanted the basic things of life, yes, but at the end of the day, they just wanted happiness and they just wanted to feel seen in the worlds that they had created or carved for themselves.
Okay, so there's a thing. I don't know if it's a myth about the men. I would not say the men in Nollywood because no, it's not totally true. But there's something about men that are in the media. I have asked a couple of guests that I had that were like that. That makes them look like they're effeminate men. Does what why is it that way? Like men that are in the media like you are, there's something soft about you, or there's something feminine about you. Is it a criteria, or show not the planner?
I I think that there are diverse, people and diverse types of, you know, men and how they present masculinity. But maybe what you've observed is as a result of the fact that there is something soft about art. There is just a softness to art, whether it's music, whether it's fashion, whether it's there is something that is not completely, it's not wrestling, it's not boxing, it's not. There's just something about it that allows you, if you're going to truly be great at it, that allows you to tap into both your feminine and masculine sides. I think the word is vulnerability. A lot of men in film or in the creative arts, music, fashion, for a lot of us to be truly great or for a lot of us to do art that is truthful, it does need some level of vulnerability. But I don't know if that's exactly what you've noticed, but I feel like that could play a part in how not necessarily presenting yourself as just one thing could unconsciously happen. You are literally letting yourself free to feel everything that you can feel and be, 101 things if you're going to tell people's stories or represent people's lives through film or through cinema.
As a screenwriter, what do you like the most about your job? What do you enjoy the most about your job? I don't want to talk to you as an actor. I want to focus on you as a screenwriter. So, what is the sweetest part of your job?
I think sometimes I like the fact that I get to play God for 2 seconds. Like I'm creating these worlds. Like there's something badass about it. Like you're creating these towns. These towns may exist in real life. They may also not exist in real life. But you're creating these people. You're giving them what to say, and there's just something badass about it. To be honest, sometimes I watch Adre and I'm like, these are my words. This thing came out from me. These were not improvised. These are my words. These actors took my words and they made it so theirs. And I just think that sometimes to just be the foundation of something is really beautiful. And then I think also I get to contribute my quota to an evolving and a growing industry. Like I get to know that, oh, because of me, certain types of films are seen, certain types of actors were also seen. Because sometimes it is your work that gives, actors breakthroughs, that give directors breakthroughs. It's because sometimes when you write, with so well, or when you write properly, you are changing lives of people. So it's beyond just what is written and what is on paper and what is filmed. It's the fact that whether these actors accept it or not, or the people involved accept it or not, I feel like sometimes the work has contributed in some way to your story. So you may not remember me tomorrow, but I would always be a part of your story. And I think that's the best part of it. To just know that I'm contributing something, I'm creating worlds that, I'm tasking my imagination, I'm tasking my brain, I'm tasking, because it's creative work, but it's also intellectual work. Like I'm tasking every part of my head to make sure there is something concrete for people to love and be proud of.
Fantastic. So, for some reasons, as a screenwriter, do you ever feel like you don't get enough spotlight for any reason, or you're just celebrating behind, like, okay, yeah, that's my story, I'm excited. And then when you see the lead character getting all the red carpet attention, oh, we want to talk to you, want to talk to you. Does that make you feel anyway? Just tell us.
Oh my God, it happened. I got lucky and blessed with that joy, to be honest. I feel like since I started writing, this is the first time I have gotten some form of spotlight. And I don't joke with it. I don't joke with it. It may not be the loudest as compared to like maybe the actors or the director and all that. But I am grateful because, I finally felt, or I finally feel, because I'm still feeling that way, seen. And it's because sometimes it's frustrating. Like this thing was in my brain, it nursed in my brain. I'm so sorry, but these things you're saying, they're mine. You're on this set because, I created something like this and you got it. And while I try my best not to be jealous of anybody, because to be honest, the journey is funny in the sense that the fact that people are getting spotlight could also in future, propel you. So I try not to be envious or anything, but sometimes it gets to you when it just feels like you are at the back end of the spotlight for something you spent sleepless nights on and wrote a billion drafts for, and just kept working, working and working and working to make right. So yeah, it's a real thing. It's painful, but I'm happy with that.
Okay, that's fantastic. As a screenwriter, would you say that writing is lucrative? Is it lucrative? Is this something you can use to start a family? Is it something you can use to raise your kids and send them to the university abroad? Or it's just one of those hobbies, like as a person, is lucrative in Nigeria as well?
Oh, to be honest, I'm going to be very honest. It's getting there. It's getting there, to be honest. But I also feel that, um, screenwriting, like acting and most of the other creative parts of the industry, you grow. You grow into your worth. You keep working. You keep putting out the good work, and it's almost never easy initially. But I just feel like you grow into your worth. There are writers that are not smiling in the same country. Before they will even pick your call, you're not going to Google them because they have all the credits. They have big streaming films. They have series. What kind of lie do you want to tell them that they're going to believe? But for us that's still coming up, I understand. I recognize that it's a journey. I made sacrifices to even get to a real level of recognition, and I still have a lot more work to do. But I know that it's growing. It's getting better. I do know. As long as you're increasing your worth, you're showing that you're credible and you're capable, you're definitely putting yourself in a place where you can negotiate and you can say, "Oh, this is what I want." And if the people don't, think that it's you're worth it, then you get to a level where you just start letting people go. You just start saying, "You know what, bye bye." It's not a do or die affair. You don't pay me what I want. You don't give me what I need. Fine, it's okay. Go somewhere else. Because I know that my colleagues that are in this level or bigger than this level are still going to bill you. Either way, somebody is going to collect that money. So that's what I personally think.
So, between Adire and writing Battle on Booker Street, which one would you say is the most challenging for you when you were putting the stories together?
I feel like they're very different experiences because, like, I was writing with Queen Mother in Battle of Booker Street, and that was like a very, very interesting experience because you're working with somebody who is an icon, who is a legend, who is just phenomenal at what she does. So they're very, very different experiences. Adria was much more personal because, it was mostly me, my friend, Stephen Oluboyo, that, was part of the story development. My boss, maybe Battles, that was running notes with and, sharing drafts with. But but it just felt more intimate. With Battle on Boca Street, I got to and to basically collaboration, working with other points of view and views, and just finding a middle ground, which basically was also the same for Adre, but it still felt different. I think that they are just very different experiences that I am proud to have. I'm excited to have gotten in my career, because I can't trade any of them. In one, you have to really learn to collaborate. You have to really learn to, work with a team of people. And in another one, you have to really learn to also just trust yourself and believe that, you can steer the ship. It's not every day somebody's going to baby you or hold your hand, or you get to. I think with Address, just that because it's me writing solo, I got to just believe in myself 20 times more. Um, so everything I felt in Booker Street, the joy, the excitement, the growth, Adire just took it up to another level, because I could say, you know what, Jack, you're also that person. You can hold your own and, make figure out this thing for yourself. Yeah.
Your role in Adire was fantastic. You played Tunde, and honestly, that role was as if if I didn't know you as outside the Tunde role, I would just think this is the person that you are. It was really amazing. Tell us how you felt when they told you this was the character you were going to play.
Oh, I was so excited. See, I know people say there's nothing like small roles, and I didn't used to believe it until I got to May. Um, I was so excited because I think I could see the future of today. It felt like a minor character, but I knew that this character was going to be pivotal in the message we're trying to send in this film. So um, I had a friend that read the script and said, Jack, this character looks like something you can actually play, in the sense that you physically look like the character. They usually tell me I have bombastic side eye too much. Like, you could be saying something and like, so I did reach out. I'm like, please, can I? It's a very small role. I'm literally begging. I really love acting, so it's not just writing. Can I play this? And for some reason, everybody was like, yeah, you actually do look like the guy. You actually, your face sometimes, when you're not feeling what people are saying, the looks you give looks like what Sunday would do. I was so excited to play, but I think when I now got on set, I was really nervous because while I was acting, doing theater and whatnot, I'd not like properly been in a film. And Adre had those actors that were really acting. You come on set and Antifunola, Alfiebi Raimi from the first day, was killing it. Kende Bankole was on another level. Yvonne Jegede, I think one of her biggest scenes from the film was shot in the opening in the first day. So in my head, I'm like, wait though, am I the one that is going to come and spoil this film? So I was so nervous. Someone would just say, please stick to writing. This is not for you. But I was just excited to do it. I wouldn't, even if they tell me to choose another role from Adrift, like I had that level of power, I think I'll still choose Tunde. It was just a very different experience and a beautiful role to play.
Okay, so how would you describe the growth in the Nigerian film industry, especially in storytelling, in the past 5 years and now?
Oh, it's been crazy in the sense that everything is just growing rapidly. The streamers are here, Netflix, Amazon um, was here or is still here. And what that has done is it's made Nollywood films very global, in the sense that people from Kenya, UK, they watch our films. And even the cinema business too has grown into rapid heights. So at this point with Nollywood, nobody is sleeping. There's so much content being made, but the content that will stand out, whether it's a low budget film or a big budget film, I've noticed that most of the time, beyond the other things that makes a film look good, is the story. So there's been lots of growth in that sense. People are trying out new things. People are taking on challenges. Like, it's no longer if you want to do drama now, for instance, how can you do drama that it sticks in people's heads and it looks better than every other drama out there? If you want to do action, how can you do action that is the biggest thing for people to take note of? Because people want to remember, you want to make films that are memorable. You know, when you think about it, there people still remember wedding parties and figuring and phone swaps and a lot of these older films. So I think Nollywood has really grown, to be honest, and nobody is sleeping. So even me now, when I pitch stories, I'm very much aware of that. I'm very much aware of the fact that half of the work, the success of the work, is done first with the story and with the idea, because some of these companies can find funds, they can make move things around to make it happen. But if there is no heart in what you're telling and people can't connect or relate, it doesn't really do much. It's probably just because a film that people see and after that, that's it. Nobody cares about it anymore. It doesn't impact culture in any significant way. But I've seen a lot of things this period. Like everybody's on their toes, everybody's competitive in a very positive way, in the sense that we all want to stand out and we all want to shine.
That is amazing. Okay, so let's talk about why we're here today, which is the role of inclusion in screenwriting. It takes a lot to be able to put a script together. So you're not just, like you said, you're not just considering yourself. You have to be soft enough to put yourself in people's shoes. That way you're able to write better and you're able to project stories, into movies. So what is the role of inclusion? As a writer, how do you include, tell us the role of inclusion. Inclusion makes the story complete. You're able to include an ordinary Nigerian, maybe a mechanic, you know, anybody, what is that role that inclusion plays, in screenwriting?
The fact that you can see yourself in something just makes it worthwhile at the end of the day. Me, I'm from the south. I'm a Bayelsan. I'm Ijo, and I think this year there was a film called Blood Vessel, and it was mostly in Ijo, and it just felt exciting to see something like that. Um, I lived in Calabar for some years, so I think when I was creating Ajure's character, her original name was Asari. And I got lots of messages from my friends in Cross River, and they basically were like, "Oh, she's a Calabar girl," that kind of thing. Like they were very excited about it. So I think at the end of the day, whether it's a majority tribe, minority tribe, any part of the country, people are excited to see their cultures, you know, to see themselves on screen. And I always say this, and I do believe in it, that we can't as writers be judgmental of everyday people, in the sense that sometimes when we make films, everybody who is poor is an idiot or is dumb or is like it's just foolish, and we focus so much on that we don't necessarily ask ourselves, what is this character trying to say? And for me, it's important. Now, I'll go since we're on Nigeria, I'll use Nigeria for as an instance. There's a character called Yewande, and Yewande is not the most literate woman in the film, but I was not interested in making a caricature of that character. Yewande really did not like how the Dickiness was treating people. She really did not like it. So from the onset, English or no English, Yemande's message was anti whatever the Dickiness was spewing. And you kind of get to you get to feel her importance in the story, even though she wasn't the lead character or she wasn't, she was supposed to be this smaller character, but she became really integral to the film because in my head, I've already told myself that if you are going to write about people, you are going to honestly, give them something that is important to do within the world of the story, because people want to feel represented, whether the person went to school or not. I believe that Nigerians, Africans, we are wise people. It's in our proverbs, it's in how we talk, it's in how our mothers handle issues and keep the peace in the homes. It is in how our parents, even the ones that are not educated, figure out ways to make family life work. So I think for me, inclusion basically means stop judging, everyday Nigerians. Stop judging them in the sense that you put them in stereotypes. You're writing about a prostitute. That's all she is. You're not looking 360. What would she want to do in her life? Would she what is she missing in her life? So that when she finally sees things like family and love, and it becomes important to her, it becomes special to her. So I think that's it. Basically for me, because I I actually, maybe not exactly how you put it, but it was a major part of how I wanted Ajure to be put out. I didn't want just the stereotype of a prostitute, she's standing on the road. I did not want just one bad person in the church and everybody is bad and none of that, because I know that I have met awesome people that changed my life still from churches. And I also wanted everyday people to look and feel intelligent and important, irrespective of the language they speak, that they have value to add on screen. So I think it's a big thing. I think most other writers should or producers should look at it from that aspect too. The security man that is in front of your house is a father. He's probably not even seen his family for years because he traveled all the way from the north to earn a living here. There's a story there. There's a hardworking man who is not your he's not an aboki. He might be an aboki to you, but he's not an aboki. He's a father, he's a son, he's a friend that is trying to, make ends meet. But when we look at it from that angle, we now start to ask ourselves, okay, what is this person's story? And good or bad characters, when you respect their journey or you want to know about their journey, people feel seen, you know. So because I know a lot of people even reach out and say they also identified the Dickiness as chaotic as Dickiness was. She had her reasons for being the way she was. She was raised that way. So I think it's just investigating into the lives of people some more, not just painting them with shallow strokes. And I think that's what is going to make inclusion in Nollywood very, very important. And then also as we progress, we should also tell the stories of other tribes because it's important. It's so important for an Ijaw boy or someone that is thief or a no-pay girl to just look at herself on screen and say, that's my people. I can be a star too, or our stories also matter. We are not just some addition to the country. We are part and we are a huge part of this nation, and we belong here too. So we should also get visibility. So I think yeah, that's basically what I think.
Wow, very insightful. So, our stories, if you're a writer and you're watching this, a screenwriter, you should know that your stories should be relatable. They should be stories that when I see your movies, I would say, okay, JK, that person looks like you, and you can still win if this person can win. So it's a new year, Jack. It's a new year, and everybody's doing great things in their careers. Everybody's moving forward. Just pushing generally. What should we be expecting from you as a screenwriter and as an actor?
I can't give more details into my next project, but it's really I'm very excited about it. All of us that we're already in pre-production. Um, I wish I could give more details about it, like because I'm so excited about it. But I think it's going to still be something thought-provoking and very very exciting. There are a couple of projects for this year for me, and right now I'm just taking it one at a time. I really want them to be special. I also want to contribute more, in how these films are made, not just writing and directing. I want to do more. I want to bring most of the stories to life this year and just continue to push. Because I feel like I have something to say and people will hear it, whether they want to hear it or not. They must hear it. So it's an exciting year for me.
I like that. I like that. I feel like I have something to say and they must hear it. That is very important when it comes to, you know, self promotion, when it comes to giving yourself visibility. You must be convinced first that there's something I have that should be out there before other people can buy into your idea or your project or whatever. You have to, first of all, have the drive, to push forward your projects or
I lost you. I don't know what's going on. I can't hear you. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. I don't know. Something happened. I don't know what happened. I can't hear anything. I I can't hear anything. I don't know. Just
someday, what is that advice that you'd give to them, to keep them going, to inspire them, and to motivate them?
honestly, my number one advice is know your worth, not from like a prideful place, but know what you carry, and know the limitations also, your current limitations to what you carry. That allows you to ask for help. That allows you to do research. That allows you to just be much more approachable. Because sometimes people are watching. It's not just your intelligence that matters. Is are you willing to listen? Are you willing to carry them along to make them part of the process? But yeah, know your worth, grow, because most of the success that you're praying for, I believe that it's possible. I do believe that it is possible. But for writers, we have to work 20 times harder. We have to constantly prove ourselves and just keep working, keep proving yourself. And when jobs don't click or things don't click, don't waste time crying about the one that doesn't work. Hustle the next one up, push for the next one. And when you find success, don't sit there and celebrate that success for so long that you're not looking on to the next one. So you just keep working, keep growing, and keep, being open-minded because success will come.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Jack. There's something you said that I'm going to hold on to. When you eventually succeed or you're successful on a project, don't sit on it celebrating for too long. You have to forge ahead for a higher achievement. All right, thank you so much for being a part of today's show. I'll give you an opportunity to tell us your social media platforms so that you can get more followers and we can be enjoying all of the other contents that you're going to be dishing out on your social media, especially on your Instagram and other platforms.
Okay, thank you so much for having me. You can find me on Instagram at Jack'enneth_Opukeme. Then on Twitter at Jack'enneth O. So I'm not so hard to find. If you type Jack Kenneth somehow, you'll see a picture of someone holding a cigarette. That's my main page. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you for joining us on Inside Nollywood Conversation. It's been amazing, talking to you, the experiences, the challenges, the the expectations and the things we're looking forward to from your end. It's been amazing. Okay, so on this note, thank you guys for joining us today. Before we go, I want you to know that the Inside Hollywood International Film Festival and Awards is taking place in Abuja in February. And it's going to be from the 15th to the 17th of February, and trust me guys, there'll be pageantry, awards, screening of movies. It's packed. You shouldn't miss it. So on this note, I'd like to say bye bye. I remain JK_OAP on Instagram, JKAY_OAP. Follow me and enjoy my contents back to back, and follow us on Inside Nollywood on Instagram, Inside Nolly on Twitter, Inside Nollywood on Facebook, and Inside Nollywood on YouTube, and enjoy all of our contents. Thank you guys for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your day. Jack, tell our listeners bye bye.
Bye. Thank you guys for joining us.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.